All right, guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. Super important in answering this question. How many years will it take for you to become a millionaire? I'm going to run you through an exercise that's going to answer just that question. It's going to focus on the importance of compounding interest and the importance of wealth preservation going forward. You're going to want to stay tuned because this information can change your life. So I'm going to jump you into the exercise right now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, guys, so I absolutely love all aspects of investing, but this just happens to be one of my favorites. This goes hand in hand with the rule of 72, but in this exercise, I'm going to perhaps answer for a lot of you guys how many years it takes to be a millionaire, and I really want to focus this on the younger crowd. Certainly, if there's anyone that has never seen this exercise, prepare to have your mind blown, okay? Now, set the younger investors aside, and I'm starting this scenario assuming that you start investing at 20 years old. Pretty realistic. This calculator won't allow me to go any more than a 40-year time horizon, so if you really want to get crazy, if you're an 18-year-old investor out there, they always say start early and start with as much as you can. But the question is, how much do you need to consistently invest to get up to that $1 million mark? And I've put in the minimums and tried to align what I feel is the most realistic scenario, understanding that at 20 years old, a $325 commitment every month is going to be pretty hefty. What I will say is if you don't have that amount, do what you can. And that's why we always recommend starting with what you can and help to put yourself in a better position to make up for these earlier contributions that you missed a little bit later on in life. So this is about as realistic a scenario as I can put forward for you guys. When I did my video on how many years it would take me to be a millionaire, I used the same figures here with the annual rate of return conservatively at 8%. And then, of course, the fee structure. This is really going to be an eye-opener for you guys, especially you younger investors, 18 to 24 years old that are capturing this video. This is life-changing information. So for 5 minutes, if you want to stick around and have the potential to understand the power of money. The power of money is incredible. I'm not here to teach you about the power of love or the power of spirituality, but I am here to teach you about the power of money. And this is where it really comes to a head. And if you just invested in the S&P 500 and paid this 0.03, one of the takeaways from this exercise is going to understand the difference between the 1% and the 2% fee, respectively. So we'll get into that when we run the report. But up top here, I've drafted this scenario, again, starting at 325. I do understand it was the number necessary to get to $1 million. Okay, so if you can't do that every month, I totally understand. That's a pretty hefty contribution starting out at 18, 19, 20. When you're just starting to get your feet wet, attending college, etc. However, I'm not going to give you a pass. I'm going to tell you that you're going to need to make this up at some point. You're going to need to be aggressive the older you get and the more stable you become in your financial picture. You're going to definitely want to make sure that you're contributing what you can, when you can, and a little later on in life, this will become a lot easier to make. I did put a 40-year time horizon on this equation when we write it. I think that's very, very standard across the board. Again, for those investors that are 18 to 24, that's going to capture that audience. If you wanted to retire early at 58, certainly that would put you at the low range of this if you were 18, and then 24 at 64. So that really speaks to the masses. And I think the real takeaway here isn't to get so specific with your target date and retirement. I think the real takeaway here is to acknowledge, number one, the power of compounding interest, number one. Number two, I'd like you to really focus in on the effect of fees on that compounding effect when we run this report.
Now this $1,000 starting amount I did put in here as a token amount. Honestly, guys, if you're serious about investing, you should try to prove to yourself that you can save up that first $1,000 and really prove to yourself that this can become a priority in your life. And if you can't do this, then you're not going to be able to justify paying yourself and really committing yourself to an investment plan and sticking with that plan going forward. So I think this $1,000 represents a lot more than just getting you off the launching pad. I really think that this represents a pledge to yourself to be serious about this program if in fact you do set sail on this journey for 40 years in hopes of some financial security when you retire. So we're going to run the report, guys. I'll kick you on the next page here and we'll see what this renders. Very cool. We are back. So this is really where the scenario is run through for you guys. This is not magic. I say this all the time. This has a real chance of impacting a lot of viewers. So if this is the first time that you're seeing these results, prepare to be alarmed, because if you're looking at this and you're picking up on the fact that this is almost 1/10 of the total amount rendered here, you would be correct. This is the power of compounding interest. I told you it was an amazing phenomenon. Everything up top here with the scenario is the same, down to the 8% rate of return. So I'll just re-review. 1,000 starting for 40 years, 325. We've already discussed that. And then an 8% anticipated rate of return. For the sake of example, we changed up the scenario. We dropped a 2% fee in here, which represents more of the managed side of the house. So for all of you folks that are putting your money to work with a financial planner, there you go. This is your category. This is what you can hope to render with your strategic benefit that you're under the impression you're getting. And then this is me over here. This is for all my self-directed investors over here, paying a nice low fee for passive investings here, because at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is this 8%. Now you're realizing close to that 8%, 8 minus 0.03797 here, so you're getting that almost full percentage of rate of return per year. But see here, this 8% rate of return gets reduced to 6 over here in a managed situation when consumed by the fees. This 2% here is easy to overlook. It's easy to overspeak. And quite frankly, this is one of those aspects when you sit down with a financial planner that they're trained to glaze over, okay? Their only legal obligation is to provide you the disclosure, that of which each and every financial planner is required to tell you to read and understand before you invest. My question is, how many people actually do that? I'll leave that rhetorical question to the audience and move on with the renderings of the example. Total contributed in all three scenarios are the same, 157,000, contributing 325 per month. That remains the same. This is where it really is interesting. If you're in my community and you ask me, is it possible to become a millionaire with this scenario? The answer is yes. And you guys might think I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not. I'm just a fellow investor who's trying to bring awareness to the truth in investing. Make no mistake about it, speaks to the truth. It speaks to the truth. And that's all I ever ask people to focus in on, is the truth when it comes to their money. I know I have discovered the truth with my money. All I'm trying to do is share the truth through awareness to anybody who wants to come on and get the good news about their money. Now, this will render over $1 million. And for the managed people who put their money to work or to sleep with a financial planner, for that same 40-year time horizon, you've rendered just over $500,000. So you can see there how a big of an effect this is on your money, just an absolutely staggering figure. And you can't go back in time, guys. There is no redos in investing. You cannot go back and change the past. The time to change your approach and your understanding of this phenomenon is right now. The urgency is right now. The clock is ticking, and the time for you to change and acknowledge this truth about investing and the difference between this just over 600,000 and this here significantly over $1 million. The time to discover this truth is right now. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this scenario. With that, we'll kick you back to YouTube to conclude the video. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, so we've come out of the compounding calculator. Pretty awesome stuff. And the real takeaway here is to understand, yes, the power of compounding interest going forward. But the real takeaway from my message is the power of compounding interest coupled with the effect of fees over time. If this is your first time catching this deliberation and you want to hear more information that we put through over the Independent Investor channel, you want to make sure and subscribe to the message. Leave your comments at the bottom of the video for sure, and share the message with any of those beginning investors that may have that 40-year time horizon to work with. We need to get this information to people, and we need to get it to them as soon as we can. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the message, and good luck in your investment future.